Mike and I just got into a very heated discussion, and so we just turned off the cameras. But in the spirit of being open with everything, I still want to talk about it and like what happened. Otherwise, we're just like turning off the camera and pretending like everything's fucking good and all the time, right? Let me take you to last week. We received a report from our accountants saying that on a cash basis, we had lost some money at the start of our new quarter when Mike joined. The reason for that, from an accounting standpoint, is that anything that was due to us as an account receivable prior to when Mike joined is not counted as fourth quarter revenue on a cash basis for the new term of the partnership with, right, it's separated because anything that happened before he came on is part of like essentially like the old company or my company that I own 100% of, right? So on a pure cash basis, from the time we started working together, we've billed people, but they haven't paid because not everyone pays the day that you send an invoice, and it usually takes, on average, like our billing terms are net 7. Realistically, people on average last year, if you look at our history, pay about net 23 or something like that. So anyways, but as part of a business, you still have to pay people. So we have employees that we have to pay. We have some contractors. We have office expenses. We have all this other shit that we have to pay for, and that can't wait, right? So we have to pay that. So imagine we have this new company. We start paying people right away for the work that they're doing, but we don't receive money to cover that, right? So on a cash basis, we'll have lost money technically. On an accrual basis, which means that it counts the account receivables that we haven't collected money from. I don't think we have lost money, maybe made a little bit, but on a cash basis we had lost money. So that makes me a little uncomfortable. The responsibility is to make sure that the business is okay from a cash perspective, right? Cash is oxygen. We can't operate the business without cash. We are a small business that relies on cash. We haven't had any outside financing or anything like that. So basically all the money in the business that's being used to fund everything right now is money that I've made in the past and reinvested. The way I've operated the business in the past is that, hey, if we're at a loss a little bit, we have to evaluate the finances and make sure it's okay for us to take out money. Because as a member of an LLC, you technically don't get a salary. You only get paid when the business makes money, right? But there's some ramp up time here, and I knew that. And in order to kind of fund this ramp up time over Q4, I decided to use the money that I made in the past to fund this ramp up time. I knew it was going to happen, but it still it doesn't make it, me comfortable. And I know that in Q1, we'll actually be making money just because we have enough lined up and people are starting to pay us the stuff that we actually build in Q4, etc. But anyways, it's just the way of operating that Mike and I are discussing back and forth, because for the last 2 years, I haven't had anyone there with me. It's just been me kind of on my own running the show. And so like, I'm still getting used to having Mike there. As a COO and a partner, and getting used to from let's call it like from a financial point of view. But yeah, so like we just had a conversation about that and how we're going to manage cash flow and how to manage the finances and all that kind of stuff. That just, it needs to be talked about. What I've learned is that it's better, at least for me, I need to address things sooner rather than later. Like if I didn't have this conversation for another 3 months or another 6 months, it would have been even worse, because at some point this kind of conversation would have come up, right? So it's better to have it. It doesn't make it any easier. I mean, it makes it easier, but like it still sucks to have this conversation. I mean, we spent 2 to 3 hours in a room. It was extremely heated at times. Got a little, I was a little worried for a minute there. I mean, it sucks to get into kind of like, I wouldn't say argument, but any sort of heated discussion is difficult, especially when it revolves around finances and money for the business. And nothing was personal, so that's like the good thing, is like in these kind of things, like all I want is what's best for the business. That's all I really care about. At the same time, I equally want what's best for Mike and what's best for everyone on the team as individuals. To me, that's what comes first. I'm kind of the last person, so like as the CEO, even though as the CEO and owner of the company, I'm the last one to get taken care of. So employees on the team get taken care of, Mike gets taken care of, and then I get taken care of last. As the CEO, I'm the head of the company, but I'm also the last line of defense. I'm the first line of defense. Like I'll take the hit, first before everyone else. But I'm the last one to get paid. I'm the last one, and that's just like part of it. we ended up having just like to stop the conversation and get on the rest, with the rest of our day because we had calls and meetings and whatever. And that night was a little rough for me because it's just like I was thinking about it a lot. I was like, shit, it's about 4 months in, everything's going fucking really well, everything's good, and then like these kind of conversations come up, and you're like, you start to doubt shit a little bit. But this is also how partnerships and relationships get stronger when you actually can get through it, right? So it's how you get through it can either make you or break you in that relationship. And so what happened is the next morning, Mike and I had a good little chat. We took a deep breath, had the night to ourselves, regrouped in the morning, had a chat, and we talked things through, and it's good. We had a chat about what went well in the conversation, what didn't go as well, and it was a quick chat this time, only like 15-20 minutes, but it was just like, hey, acknowledging. One is we had to acknowledge that it actually did happen, right? We couldn't just ignore it. Acknowledge that it did happen, and then what were the actual key takeaways from it, and then how do we move forward? And so how we're going to move forward from now is saying, I'm going to come up with a plan for how to manage things regarding the finances, and then propose it to Mike, and we'll go back and forth, and we'll come up with an agreement. We're back in the right direction. Sometimes it takes like really fucking hard conversations, to happen in order to make progress forward. It could have also spiraled the other way, and like, I don't even know what could have happened, but it didn't. I'm thankful to have Mike on board because he has that, that ability to have a discussion like that and then recover from it with me, which I think all it's going to do is make us stronger. Like, we get through this kind of shit, it's just going to make us stronger, right? We can either let it make us stronger together, or it can pull us apart. And if you go through shit together and it pulls you stronger, then it just becomes, okay, like, we have more of this shit, like, then it's like, what's going to stop us, but it's going to take those kind of things. It's like any kind of relationship. I'm glad we worked it out, and we'll move forward from here, and that's the way it is. So it is what it is, but that's the reality of running a business. Not everything's fucking peachy all the time. Shit happens. And that's partially why I'm doing all this shit. So you actually like see what the hell happened, like, and we're gonna keep fucking pushing and not stopping, and that's it.